Welcome back, Padawans, to the Jedi Gaming Academy. My name is Jelani, and today I have a different kind of episode for you. So, I've been toying around with some different things that I can bring to you, some different kind of content that I can bring to the channel, and this is something that has been running around my mind and I've been mulling around with. But we're going to dub this the Holocron Minute. So if you are a longtime listener of the JMR podcast, this is a podcast that is on the channel. We have video formats on the channel, as well as audio platforms on wherever you get your podcast services for the JMR podcast. But either way, on that, at the beginning of the journey of that show, I had Holocrons, a Holocron section. That's where I read articles and everything like that. Now, I've since gotten rid of that segment, so we don't do that on the podcast anymore, but I felt like it would be a good opportunity to bring it back here on the YouTube channel. So here we are with the Holocron Minute. So I'm basically going to give you guys a short form video just to kind of go over, we're going to read an article, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on it, and then I'm going to get you out of here, get you back to the halls. All right? So without further ado, let's jump to our first article for the Holocron Minute, which is from Insider Gaming, and this is by Tom Henderson. He writes, exclusive, Star Wars Eclipse targeting 2026 release date. Now that is far away. That's about 3 years away at this point. But you know what? We're going to read on. We're going to read on, guys. All right? So, Insider Gaming sources have revealed the Star Wars Eclipse, developed by Quantic Dream, is targeting a tentative 2026 release date, but it could be delayed further. The news comes from the same sources that revealed Chinese tech giant NetEase would be acquiring Quantic Dream 6 months before it was officially announced. Sources once again restated Quantic Dream's struggle of hiring staff following allegations of workplace issues, including sexual harassment, crunch, and toxic work culture. In fact, one whistleblower who brought these allegations to light is still in legal battles with Quantic Dream, which is expected to finalize later this year. It's understood that due to the scope of Star Wars Eclipse and the alleged issues with hiring staff, the game could be delayed further from its 2026 target. Because of such date targets, Star Wars Eclipse is likely the most far-out Star Wars game that has been announced. So far, there are 6 announced Star Wars games in development that are yet to release. Star Wars Eclipse is described as a new action-adventure, multiple-character branching narrative game set in the High Republic era of the iconic Star Wars galaxy, now early in development. In late 2022, Sacred Symbols leaked plot details of Eclipse that Insider Gaming could independently verify. All right, guys, so that is all we've got here for this slight development on Star Wars Eclipse. So if you know what Star Wars Eclipse is, this got released at I want to say not last year, because we didn't get a PlayStation Showcase last year, but the showcase from 2021, we got the reveal of Star Wars Eclipse. And again, as this article stated, it takes place during the High Republic era. Now, the High Republic era is an era of Star Wars that we really haven't touched on in games, movies, TV shows, any kind of media. Now, I'm sure some legend media and some like books and stuff like that, they might dive deeper into the High Republic era. But as of mainstream stuff that, at least for me personally, what I've seen and what I've been privy to, I haven't really seen that much stuff about the High Republic era. So that is very interesting that we're going to be targeting this, time frame in the Star Wars timeline. And again, that does bring up some issues. It's going to cause some things to go awry, especially when the studio is already dealing with internal HR issues, right? Now they're having to deal with building this, big game around a huge IP. And I'm not saying that they can't do it, because obviously Quantic Dream, they are one of the masters of this, narrative focused, over gameplay kind of genre. You know what I mean? Like they did, Detroit Become Human. They did Heavy Rain. I don't know if they're the ones who did, Beyond Two Souls. I don't know if they're the ones who did that one, but it's still in the same vein as those games. So I feel very confident that they can do something and do some wonders with, using the Star Wars IP in that frame, in that genre. You know what I mean? But it does concern me when we're seeing that, they're still, because this is back, I'd say maybe a year and a half ago, we heard that they were having issues staffing up, and we're still hearing the same stories. And it is related to all of these, HR allegations that are going on internally in the studio. It just, I am excited, and I want them to get this, get this going and, get their stuff together so that they can, actually start working on it. But at the same time, they got to focus on getting that stuff dealt with first And that seems like that's what the situation is over there. You know, they've got to deal with the internal stuff, get that stuff under wraps, and then we can maybe start to, look at the projects that we have under our belts that we've got to get going. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at here with this. I am very excited because, again, as you guys know from, if you watched episode, I think it's 57, our last episode of the JMR podcast, that I talked about gaming drought, or that I had gaming drought, and I might have used that term incorrectly. I used it how I thought of it. You know what I mean? Where I just could not figure out a game to play on the run up to Final Fantasy 16. Nothing was piquing my interest. That's what I call gaming drought in my life. So I was experiencing that, and the only thing that got me out of it were these narrative focused games over gameplay. So we're focusing more on the story being presented as opposed to what you're doing moment to moment. So I picked up The Quarry, and obviously it's from Supermassive Games. They did the Dark Picture anthology. I'm planning on going to that after I get to or finish The Quarry, but because of that game, I realized I do have a deep love for these narrative-focused games, so I'm actually excited for this one now. I'm more excited than I was when I first saw it, because, I'm always down for anything Star Wars and gaming. Come on, y'all know this. But the fact that this was a narrative-focused, I was like, maybe I'll get around to it, but now I'm like, no, I'm definitely going to be picking this one up day one, because I want to see what they've got in hand, But, guys, I think this is all I've got for you for this first episode of the Holocron Minute, alright? So, as always, I have been your host, Jedi Master Ren, and I will see you next time in the halls of the Jedi Gaming Academy. May the Force be with you, always.